Hello, my name is João Saldanha. I'm an archaeologist that works almost 20 years in the Amazon region. And today I will talk about recent insights from the food production systems in the Amazon and how these food production systems can help us think about our food production systems in the future. So it starts with this question mark. Prehistoric cultivation features, recent insights from the Amazon. Well, the motivations that led me to think about this lecture is that we have now a wealth of data about past Amazonian cultivation, and this wealth of data can help us to contribute in the planetary discussion about more sustainable futures in the food production system for us. First, I need to start with some misconceptions that we have worldwide about early forms of food productions. First, misconception and that cultivations always is primarily about human control over other species. And is not the case, because we can see in prehistoric cases that most of the times the species have an agency, have special needs that led the humans to adapt, to be creative towards produce those species, to let the species to be useful in a food production system. Second misconception is that there is some favorite domesticated that are exclusive foundations for further developments, which means, for example, you can give the example in the Neolithic, in the Near East, that led to the spread of food production system all over Europe. It was thought in the beginning that you have some specific kind of crops that were favorite over others, and that thanks to this small number of crops that the Neolithic revolution could start and could develop into more sophisticated cultural systems. In the Americas, you have the corn, for example. So as much corn as some culture could produce, more developed this culture could be produced. So again, is the thinking that you have contemporary, that if you focus in just one specific kind of crop, for example, you have today the soybeans, and there is a focus in the soybeans production, as it's the only way to secure the planetary food security. The third misconception is that the food productions evolve as a sequence of revolutions. So we start in a Neolithic revolution, you have secondary product revolution, so then you have the industrial revolution in the middle of the 19th century that led us to be so dependent on machines, large plantations, very few crops, and today you have the so-called green revolution. So it's a thinking that the future food security in the planet depends on incremental gain in productivity and very few species. Well, but there is some recent views about early forms of food productions. There was much more creative experimentation in food systems and plant use. So, as I say, the plants, they have some agency and some needs that humans need to adapt to incorporate those plants in their food systems. Again, I'm reiterating what I say above. The emergence of food production systems was about dependence upon the agencies and ecologies of other species. So you have recent insights from Amazonia, and I will develop three main ones to propose a radical potential future of food production. So first, I will argue about the occurrence of an early agrobiodiversity, then the development of dry and wet farming, and all this led to a diversification not only in the food production system, but in biodiversification of the forest and cultural diversification. So let's start first about early agrobiodiversity. The food production systems could only start to be developed 10,000 years ago when started the Holocene period. So this here. This graph is the graphed register. It is obtained by ice cores in Greenland. These ice cores can register for a long time. You have here the graph from 50,000 years ago. Year by year, the temperature in the surface of Earth. So you can see in the graph when the temperature is low, when it's high, when it's low, when it's high. So we have in the previous period, the Pleistocene, you have periods that's low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high. So quite, it's so varied, the temperature in the planet, until we reach in 10,000 years ago, finally an instability in the we call the Holocene. And this stability led us as human species to start to develop our food production systems. So it works a little bit like that. So you have the climate amelioration with the Holocene. So you have human communities responding to this climate stability by propagation or tending of plants. In the case of the Amazon, you have unique predators of human-plant interactions. But first, to say about these unique trajectories, I must give three very important concepts that are not always easily recognizable. First is agriculture. Agriculture is the total reliance on domesticated plants or animals, and it never happened in the Amazon, in prehistoric Amazon. Cultivation is more flexible. You have the intentional propagation or tending of plants. They can be domesticated or not. That's what happened in the Amazon. And you have the domestication. It's a process that leads to a genetic distinction from a wild ancestor, and that species start to be human dependent to reproduce. This happened in some cases in the Amazon. You have the use of domesticates and not domesticated. So you have cultivation without agriculture in the Amazon. So you don't have agriculture in the Amazon. And you have cultivation without domestication. So the prehistoric Amazon people cultivate plants without domesticated. This map shows four main areas in North South America of early plant domestication. And specifically of the Amazon region, you have the B and D areas. So you have pineapple, Brazil nut, pepper, açaí, guarana, manioc, iribi, tobacco, all these domesticated in the Amazon. As I say, there is domestication in the Amazon. Doesn't mean that they were depending on the domesticated species. So some species that were domesticated in Amazon, so you have here manioc, sweet potato, cacao, pepper, pineapple, tobacco. And here you have the early domesticated early sites that show the use of domesticated plants in the Amazon region in yellow for more than 9,000 years ago. As I say, they were not reliant only on domesticated plants. They tended a lot of non-domesticated, but very produce. It was some stands that produce a lot of food. So you have this, and this just to show how productive is this some of those non-domesticated plants in the Amazon. You have this New York Times an article about the superfood gold rush. They are talking the superfood. They are talking about the acai. That's this kind of berries that planting that are raising palm trees and produce a very delicious kind of juice. This again is not domesticated by the Indians, but they are intentionally propagated by Indians in such a way that now, but what they call now natural stands of acai, they can sell it worldwide. This one, it's the Brazil nut. Most of you must know. So acai is quite recent in the worldwide taste of the population, but Brazil nuts, I think that I want again propagated by the Amazonian population, prehistoric Amazonian population people, indigenous people, and today the productivity is such that rarely people need to plant again the trees. They just collect what the people, the indigenous people propagate in the past. This is just to show the graph of the export. You have the acai from 2004 to 2015 and Brazil nut again 2004 2015. So again, it's stands that were propagated and tamed by Indians in the past that today is used for export. It's a very important export for Brazil and Amazonia especially. So this process starts a little bit like that. That's what you think. So it's in this going and coming back from villages. The Indians noticed some species that were useful somehow for food production season, but also for crafts, for medicines. They collect those plants, bring to the village, and start to propagate it. So that's how the whole process started 10,000 years ago. Another process that these pictures looks a little bit hard because it's the use of fire, but it's controlled use of fire. It's the slash and burn horticulture or cultivation. So the Indians cut off the old forest, burn it, plant, because of the charcoal from the burning, the soil turns into more productive. So they led them to regenerate, and they regenerate in more biodiverse way, but also with more useful species. So